it again and see if maybe you guys didn't hear me. Who here, this is your first MFF? Well, that's pretty, let's try that. Who here, this is your first MFF? Say yeah!
Yeah!
Now that's more like it, right? Listen, sometimes I will say yeah, but I'm trying to make a point. And that's just because when there's we don't have money or a budget, so that's why there's no big movie slideshow with zooming text and word art and rainbow colored text that sparkles and twinkles when it goes across the screen, saying corporate words like synergy, and Oracle database, and you use Excel. What words are in
pivot tables?
Huh?
Pivot tables.
Pivot tables. Yeah, that's cool. I don't. Huh?
Oh God. Quotas.
Oh, quotas. Oh yeah. KPIs. Say yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of a little bit lackluster, wasn't it? No. So we don't have that. So it's just kind of be me. I'm sorry. Maybe someone wants to hook up after the panel who can help us turn into something special. So it's just me. And it can, when it's one person, I mean, I went to dog school. I know how it can be when there's one person talking. Sometimes it can get, you want to check your phone and, take a nap because everybody was up late last night, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're here at all. So sometimes there's two ways to engage with this panel. You can sit back and relax and diddle on your phone, and maybe if you learn something, great. Maybe if you don't, okay, whatever, nothing lost. You're chilling here for an hour. But anything that I say is going to go one ear and out the other. And I have had people come up and tell me how much what we're about to do in the next hour has fundamentally helped them. And I'm not even kidding. I'm not high on my own supply. It's just kind of what's happened. So the other choice you have is that you can lean forward and you can engage fully. Everybody sit like you sit when you're just relaxing, just having a nice time. Just go on and sit. If you're in a lazy boy, how do you sit? If you're in a movie theater, how do you sit? Yeah, exactly. Head Now how do you sit when you are completely on the edge of your seat, like during a horror movie? Ah! How do you sit?
Gamer lane.
Yeah, gamer pose. Yeah, Call of Duty, the 13-year-olds are at your throat. What do you do? Yeah.
I don't think I have the furniture available to recreate that pose.
Not with that attitude, you don't. So what do? You have a fundamental choice. So whenever I say yeah, I'm just trying to help you guys stay in in this state of attentiveness and kind of actively hearing what's going on and thinking of how it applies to your own life. This is a hardcore panel. There's all sorts of panels about how to build a protogen and how to start being an artist and cool artist tricks and how to write fiction. And they're all really cool creatively. But the fact of the matter is that if you don't have the fundamentals, you're not going to do any of that. You can have all the tools and all of the initiatives you want, but if you can't make the link to get started on any of that stuff, you're not going to. How many of you have bought a piece of art this con? Say yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. Who here has no idea? Say yeah. Who here has no effing idea what this is? Say yeah. This panel started as a kind of a post-con blues panel for all of you who are new who have never been to MFF before. And it can be tough when you go away. I've heard furry cons described to me as it's like you did a hit of a really strong drug, and then you go through immediate withdrawal. It's pretty potent. Who here? What is the first word? What is the first word you would describe when you walked into MFF? What sensation did you experience? Somebody.
Happy.
Exciting.
Hope. I'll take it. Let me give you another one that maybe you'll relate to. Overwhelming. There's so much coming at you. It's crazy. I've had it described to me that way many, many times. It's absolutely crazy. And when you go from that to none of it, it can feel really sad, especially when you're in a few days in, you've just started to find your footing if you're brand new. And people can go through a week or more of feeling blues. I don't want to call it post-con depression because clinical depression is its own kind of very specific thing. So this started on what do we do about post-con blues? There's a couple little tips if you bought stuff, you can unpack slowly. Everybody say hi to Melvis. He's the red one.
Cherry Dork!
Everybody say hi to Barton. He's the Foxo. Hi Barton.
Hi, Foxo.
Let's see. Who do we have over here? All right, I'm just saying hi to people. Sorry.
It's okay.
What's your name?
I'm E.
Hi, E. Is there an F too?
No.
Okay. It's my favorite letter. No. So there are a few things you can do. You can unpack all that art slowly, going over the memories you had when you got that art. And kind of saving a bit at a time. You could, did you guys take pictures? Who took pictures this week and say yeah?
Yeah!
That's awesome. I love taking pictures and photos and video. You can go through them slowly and just review what you did day by day, minute by minute, because they're timestamps on the photos. I have a new phone. I have my first new phone in a long time this con. I've been taking all sorts of pictures. I love it. Have any of you ever seen con reports, journals, showing you exactly what happened? Yeah? Okay, you can write a con report for Affinity or Tumblr if that's still something people do, or just for yourself. You don't have to show it to anyone. And here's the cool thing. You can rewrite it so it fits exactly the story you want it to write. Maybe this weekend was a little boring. Well, you can substitute a part where you became a pirate halfway through the weekend and sailed the 7 seas of the Hyatt Regency. Or, more realistically, maybe you had a bad night. Maybe something didn't work out. That's okay, that happens. But maybe in this story, you don't write that part. Or maybe it had a happier ending. In your head, right now, all these sorts of events and sensations are happening. And you interpret those, and those create memories and feelings. But I'll be honest, the actuality of the event has very little to do with what your head does with it. So something that to you was the worst thing in the world, the worst day that you had in 5 years, was just another day to everybody else. It feels real. Those emotions matter. But if in retrospect they're painful, why do you want to hold on to them? So maybe a bad day can just be another day. And so you get to choose. You get to pick the narrative of this con or any experience in your life that you had. So writing down things that happened is a great way of processing them, but in this case, remembering really good times you had. Another one. Who here made a new friend? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Who here got their friend's telegram? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Who here is actually going to follow up and telegram them later? Be honest. Say yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe all of you.
Yeah.
Following up is really, really hard, and a lot of people don't do it because they're scared. They think they're inadequate. They think, they won't like me. They think, I don't want to bother them. But I trust me.
I don't do that, Hope.
I know you don't, but a lot of people do.
50-50 split. I'm going to do some of it for both groups of people.
Yeah, well, and it depends on it depends on what you think of that person and what that person means to you. So these are all things you can do. But the thing that was more interesting to me is that how many of you felt inspired after this con? Say yeah.
Yeah.
How many of you have been inspired to start learning how to draw? Say yeah. How many of you felt inspired and want to start writing? Say yeah.
Yeah.
How many of you have felt inspired to make your own fursuit? Say yeah. That's really cool too. But how many of you are, let's be honest, if I asked you in, let's say, 3 months, how many of you are actually going to have done that thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a few of you, but that's not most of you. I started to realize after a while that there was something deeper going on here. This isn't about post-con depression. which is a cute topic. And for many, those tips will be it and all you need. And if not, and if that's true, thank you very much for coming. That's all I got for you. It's cool. Thank you, everybody. Good job. Good job. Have a good time. I started to realize something else was going on, though. And that's that these con experiences are so amazing. But then you have to go back to your life. How many of you think the con is so much better than the rest of your life right now? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Fact is, a lot of you are running away. A lot of you are running away here from a life that honestly isn't treating you right. You're stuck on a goal or something you wanted to do, or maybe you're just kind of aimless. You don't know what you want to do. You never really needed to. You kind of got carried along. But in the last several years with the pandemic and the recession, and maybe several recessions, and maybe you just feel like you're reaching this point of where you're not quite sure what's next, but you don't want to just keep coasting. So what do we do best? We distract ourselves. A new video game, Call of Duty, 13-year-old part duh. Or new piece of art we commission. The furry fandom is in many ways a coping mechanism. Not a bad one. I mean, we're all here. It's amazing. You know, a lot of people cope with watching a TV show, coming home from work, or going to a bar and drinking a lot. You know, for no reason, not even having fun, just drinking because they drink and watch the sports game, and then getting angry about the sports game, and then going to bed and doing it again. We do it with this. We do it with creativity and cons and fun. And we revel in being different. But at the core of that, if you take away the fluffy animals, see, I have a secret theory. And my secret theory is that this fandom is a lot less about fluffy animals than people think it is. The fluffy animals are nice, but how many of you have a fursona? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Good. How many of you have a fursona that is slightly or massively better than you? Say yeah.
Yeah.
I rest my case. This is not necessarily about fuzzy animals. This is about a better version of you. This is about an idealized you. This is about a you that doesn't exist today, but you want to be someday. That if only you could unlock these things, these constraints that you feel in real life, you could be them. Apart from the growing long ears kind of thing. And honestly, let's be honest, logistically, if you grew the long ears and the fur, you'd probably be put in prison pretty quickly. They'd catch you. They'd send you to the vet, and they'd neuter you. I'm afraid. I'm very afraid. So, what do we do with that? Does that resonate for anyone? That these cons are kind of running away from the rest of your life? Say yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we do with that? We have to figure out what's happening inside. Some of you are more in touch with these things than many of you, okay? And that's okay. But I want us to go through this process together. What we're about to do is a set of steps. You know how you guys do like New Year's resolutions? Or rather, we don't. We say we're going to do New Year's resolutions, and then largely speaking, we don't. You know? That's because we never follow up on them. We never go through the process again. We do once a year, and that's it. This is a set of exercises that, honestly, it's good to do multiple times a year. You know? Once a season, at least twice a year. That's why I keep doing these panels, because even if someone has come before, this is a good set of exercises to check in with at least every FurCon you go to during a year. So, the first thing we need to do is, if we're trying to get unlocked, if we're trying to figure out where we're supposed to be going, we have to figure out where we are right now. You know, you might say, oh, I'm happy, oh, I'm loving things, but let's figure out what your priorities actually are. I want you to go on ahead and think in your mind about what your needs are. What makes you the most comfortable? I'll give you a few ideas. Some of you might have heard of a hierarchy of needs. One of the most important, one a lot of us, without acknowledging it, think is the most important, is security. You know, is predictability. You know, security, normalcy. Another one is the opposite of that. It is spontaneity. It is unpredictability. It's the idea, what do you say?
Change.
Change. It's the idea, or adventure. It's the idea that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And you might say, well, that's a paradox. Well, yes, it is. You're complicated. We have both of these needs. You want to know what's going to happen tomorrow, and then you also kind of don't want to know, as long as it's good. But we don't really have that choice. Another one, and by the way, I should say, because we don't have the fancy pad of paper, you should maybe write a few of these down on your phone if you want to remember them. Let's take out a note, or Telegram has it handy, saved messages. That could be really helpful too. So one of them is security, or certainty. Certainty is a better word for it. Certainty and uncertainty, you have those. Another one is, what's the right word? Usefulness. You want to contribute to a project. You want to make a name for yourself. You want Twitter followers. You want to be a popular. Well, but at the same time, we can criticize how healthy or unhealthy that is, but it's a very human need. You want to be someone. You want to do something. You want to stand out from everyone else. It's very human. Everybody does. And maybe in different amounts. I'm not saying how much you feel all these, but you do feel all these. The next one is the opposite of that. Love/connection. Where usefulness is more about, usefulness and, I'm blanking on the exact right word to use. But, huh? No, I'm saying the last one we did. Kind of usefulness, but standing out. Doing something. Huh? Significance, that's exactly it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I brain farted. Yeah. Again, pad of paper we don't have. Significance is huge. But significance is about standing out from everyone else and being different. Love and connection is about how can I be alike the people I love and alike everyone else. That's a very strong feeling. Maybe it's you want a partner. Maybe you just want a good set of friends. But everyone has that fundamental need. Yes, of belonging. Yes, of just fundamental love and connection. But again, it is kind of diametrically opposed to the significance in some ways. Many people will spend their entire lives chasing those 4 needs: certainty, uncertainty, significance, and love and connection. Why don't you do me a favor? Actually, how many of you feel like you've been chasing those all your life, but it's still, you have those things, but you still feel a little, this may only be a few of you, but how many feel like you have all those things and you're good, but you still feel a little hollow sometimes? You still feel like something is missing? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's more than I thought. Well, there are 2 more of them that might help, the final 2. And these drive much deeper. And that is one for growth, for taking in new experiences and feelings and learnings and whatever. And then there's contribution, giving, and taking all those things you've grown from and giving them back to people for no other reason, just from the feeling that comes from giving back. You could say that's what I'm doing right now in some ways, but I'd say you're wrong. I'm trying to be a poppy fur. No. And oftentimes that's what some people need to sort of pivot to and include in their thinking. Let's see where you guys line up on these. Again, the 6. Certainty, uncertainty, or spontaneity, whatever you want to call it. Significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. Quick exercise. And again, it's good to do this every now and then. If you had to pick 2 of them as your top 2 needs, the things that you prioritize, which would they be? Just think silently for a second. Which of those 2 would you pick? Got it? Say yeah if you got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Now, keep those 2 in your head. I'm going to ask the same question again. Which are your 2 top needs? But what if it was an alien looking onto your life or a scientist looking onto your life from like a third-person perspective, what would they observe from your behavior your top two needs, prioritized needs are? Are they the same? Yeah, that's the issue. Some people will say they are, and that's fantastic, and that's a really good thing. But a lot of you, we've ID'd the schism right there, that you're not living a life according to your values, to the things you prioritize. And that can cause pain right there. Those of you who are feeling pain in your life, that's one of the fundamental cornerstones of it. You're not living according to your own values. Maybe it's hard to bring to bear. Maybe you need energy to do it. Maybe you're fundamentally in a situation, you have constraints that don't let you. Maybe you're living at home. Maybe you're living in a city you can't get out of. Maybe it's a medical issue. Who knows? But that right there is the core piece. But to get out of that, you have to have enough firepower to move from that to a better place. I put out a video before the con about dreams, and that we never think about dreams anymore. I've asked a few people this week what their dreams were, and so many people got like, I don't have any. I guess I don't know. Because when you were a kid, I assure you, you did. And somewhere along the way, you forgot about them, or you wrote them off as illogical or impractical. They're still there. I know it is a little cliche to say, live your dreams, blah, blah, but we bury them. And it's a good idea to bring them up every now and then, because fundamentally, those are powering you still behind the scenes. That is why you are here. We do not have the technology to change into a fluffy animal right now, okay? This is the best we got. Or a VR headset is the best we got. So your dreams are still in there, and you're getting new ones all the time. But a part of your brain always pushes them aside. So I want you for a second, let's think about your dreams a second. Doesn't even really matter what the dream is. Let's think about your ideal life. I want to introduce you to someone really quickly. Really quickly, I want to disclaim that I am not a therapist, okay? Please do not mistake this for therapy. I am a dog, all right? And even if I was a therapist, I am not your therapist. A therapist's job is to meet with you and only you and hear about your situation and offer something that is custom tailored for your exact needs. I cannot do that. So these exercises, if any of them hit, an individualized situation you have, or a medical or mental health issue that you're dealing with that you think is dangerous to proceed in, please feel free to sit back and just disengage from that activity, and we'll pick you back up right afterwards. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. I don't want to get the con in trouble, So this is kind of your active disclaimer. This is not medical advice. I encourage everyone, even if you're completely healthy, to see a mental health expert from time to time. You get a checkup every now and then. Well, seeing a therapist is like a checkup for your brain. Everyone does it. Even therapists have therapists. So it's very common. So if there's any way you can, I'd highly recommend it. But I know some of you can't, so we're going to do these exercises. But again, I don't want this to be mistaken, and I don't want anyone to feel too uncomfortable doing them in a way that would risk their well-being. But I do want you to meet someone, if you're able to. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you guys to imagine in your head a version of you a decade from now. This person is beautiful or handsome, and it's the version of you you always wished you could be when you grew up. I want you to imagine what they're wearing. I want you to imagine what expression they're wearing on their face. The emotion, the expression that you always imagine yourself having in the most positive sense. I want you to imagine where they're living. Where do they wake up? What's their bed look like? What locale are they in? Is it on the beach? Is it in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia? crikey, there's a crocodile. Are they in Florida? Are they in the mountains in a cabin away from everyone? Just peace and quiet? Are they in the city? Is everything happening around them? Are you in the center of the universe? You know? Are you making change right there? Are you important? You know? What does your house look like? What do your digs look like? What does your battle station look like? You have a nice chair? You have like 3 different monitors and your like Elite Gamer on it with all the RGB? Do you just have a nice minimalist, you know, you're living on a tatami mat in the middle of the room because you're a minimalist like that? What does your abode look like? What is your day-to-day like? You know, what do you do when you get up in the morning? If you work, what do you do when you go into work? What is your career like? I'm not asking you to have perfect answers right now, but I'm asking you to start thinking in that general direction. Okay? You can always come back to this later. This is called dreamlining. I want you to envision your ideal life, 10 years' time. I want you to imagine this individual smiling at you. They see you, and they see all the potential in you. They love you because they know that you're them. Just a little bit younger, just a little bit not quite as formed. And they're so excited to see you go through the process you're going to go through to become them. They reach out and they want to give you a huge hug because they know all the struggles that you've ever been through. They're you. And they know the struggles you're about to go through as well. And they're just trying to reassure you it's going to be okay. And amazing things are going to happen. You're going to have all of this. It all lies in your future. All right, you guys can open your eyes. I want you guys to imagine someone else. This version of you can close your eyes again for this. That was your most ideal self. And now you have them. They say hi. They say they're here for you. They know every struggle, and they're ready to go with you on this. I want you to imagine a version of you in 10 years' time that is exactly the same as you are now. You plus 10. Easy enough. And they're living in the place you do now, plus 10 years. In having the same job you have, plus 10 years. And I want you to imagine what their life is like. They see you. They smile at you. They love you. They're you. They've been through every single trial and tribulation you've ever been through. They love you so much because they know what a struggle it is. And they know you're trying your damnedest. They reach out. They want to give you a hug too. But they have some regret because they haven't changed. They haven't really done anything. They've kept it going, and that's been a struggle. But the certainty and comfort of their situation has scared them away from making any big changes. This is the version of yourself that doesn't commit any action, that stays where you are right now. Of course, that version of you, nice to think about sometimes, but doesn't exist and can never exist. Because nobody on earth can not change. You can either change or change will happen to you. You can either choose when you change or change will come and wreak its havoc when it wants to. You won't be in the driver's seat for that. So in reality, this version of yourself is even in a worse position because it won't be the same. But without action, it will be just objectively worse. You can open your eyes now. These two versions of yourself, this is a thought experiment. I want you guys to understand. But this is to show you how stark a result your actions, your own actions, can result in. It might be very tempting to say that life just happens to you and you're just trying to You're just trying to keep things going. And of course you are. We all are. But if your ideal and your comfort is that first need, that certainty, first and foremost, always, well, then the best you're ever going to be is that version of yourself that tries not to change. And it's not necessarily the prettiest picture. Contrast that with your idealized self that is living in your dream career, in your dream house, in your dream location, having your dream life. They've had to change a lot from where you are now to get to where they are. And the thing standing between you is courage and firepower. Let's go ahead and take that. First of all, is everybody okay? Say yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Okay. I know that can be a bit of an experience for those who are super engaged right now. But I want to go ahead and make this real. To get to that dream house, to get to your dream house, we have to figure out how to get there. Some of you guys have a career. Some of you are still relatively young and not quite sure what to do. And some of you are mid-career and still not sure what to do. You know, you're ready for a change. So let's figure out what some of those goals are. Some of you do checklists, and some of you do goals, and some of you don't. Let's do a couple right now, just on your phone. Kajit, if you could roll the go track when I tell you to, on the phone. I want you guys to write down, just brainstorm for 3 minutes what your dreams and goals are. Doesn't matter how outlandish, doesn't matter how big or small. What are your big, things you want to accomplish in this life before you're done? You know, goals, experiences, anything. So we're going to take a few minutes. And again, you're going to do this later on your own time too, but I'm just kind of giving you the form of the exercise. And we're going to do a version of it right here, okay? All right, get ready with your phones and cue it. We'll do 3 minutes. There you go. Maybe this is like how your body is, how fitness goals. That works. Maybe giving goals. Do you want to give a lot of money to somewhere when you're older? Maybe just experiences. Do you want to skydive? You know? Climb Mount Everest? These could be relationship goals too. Do you want a cute and sexy girlfriend or boyfriend? Or do you just want someone who's always going to live with you and never leave your side? I want you to dream in detail. Do you want a car? What kind of car? Alfa Romeo? Bugatti? What color is it? You know? Just any goal at all. Do you want to read a lot? Do you want to read tons of books and amass a huge library in your house? Well, maybe you want to be a professor, a lecturer. That'd be cool.
I already know what my goals are.
Oh yeah? Well, write them down, okay?
I have a camera in my hand.
Oh, okay. So then you can write them down later.
Yeah.
As many as you can spit out. I don't care how outlandish or ridiculous it is. They're yours. They're your dreams from when you were young. Astronaut, firefighter, I don't care. Write it down. All right, just a few more seconds, okay? It's going to blast you out. You can do this later in your own time in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead and pause the track. And, all right, guys, so you have a pretty good list of just some starter points. And we're going to actually go back to that track in a second, Pete, so just pause it for now. So So now you have a list of goals. Congratulations. You have the thing that teachers have told you for, and any number of online influencers have told you for years. Write down your goals. Great. I want you to barf them all out. That's good. That's part of the process. I want you now to go ahead and take a minute to assign, to as many as you can that are important. Go ahead and assign time horizons to. So let's say a year or less, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 or more years, okay? So 1 or less, 2, 5, and 10 or more. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and take a minute and try to kind of time horizon, just in parentheses, next to all of these, or as many as we can get in a minute, okay? Ready? Okay, keep going.
Flap, flap, flap.
All right, let's go ahead and pause the track. Now let's stop right there. Okay, so now, one more thing. Go on ahead and take, I know this is fast, but again, on your own time, you can do this more fully. Go on ahead and take 3 of those. Take the 3 of those that, in this moment, you care the most about, that are a 1 year or less on your time horizons. Take 3 of them that are 1 year or less. And I want you to think about why it is important that you do it. What does it mean to you if you were to do this? How is this thing you wrote down so significant to you? I just want you to write a quick sentence or 2 about 3 of them that you pick out that are 1 year or less, that would take 1 year or less to accomplish, and write down that reasoning, okay? Just in a sentence or 2, okay? All right, keep the track in. This will take 2 minutes to do this. All right, just a few more seconds. All right, you stop the track now. Lay down. All right. You guys now have 3 under 1 year or less goals and dreams that you have a good solid reason to do, and that you have a good solid explanation of why it means so much to you. So if you do, say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you don't, then you have these notes, and you have my instructions to go back and flesh this out more fully. This is something you should absolutely do a couple times a year, if not 3 to 4 times a year, just to kind of recenter where you are in life. Again, everyone, half the people out there are making New Year's resolutions. Good job. But no one goes through a process every several months or so to recalibrate where they are and what they want to be doing. and reaffirm where they stand, or factor in new changes and experiences. This is a process to do that. You know, figuring out where you are right now, refinding and dusting off why you were doing this all in the first place, what your fundamental dreams are, and what your fundamental goals are, and then making them real. This is a scary process. This is a super scary process, because a dream loses a lot of its luster when you get into the specifics. When you dream in detail, it robs you of not knowing enough to know how hard it will actually be. I've definitely gotten into things that I thought I would love so much, only to find out that it wasn't what I wanted at all when it was too late. That this was not my beautiful house, that this was not my beautiful life. So dreaming in detail can be scary. But how else are you going to know what you were meant to be doing? How are you going to know? So dreaming in detail is the only solution to that. And now you have 3 goals in front of you that you have already said to yourself you can probably do in under a year. Goals that you've long had but still haven't been able to do. And if you feel stuck, the only way to get out of it is to figure out a plan of action and how you're going to do things. You know, maybe your dreams are simple. Who here wants to share? Give me one or two of your. I just want a few of kind of the goals that you guys settled on. Okay, so kind of show of hands. Let me select somebody.
The one in the hat. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like new to the entire FurFest in the US, and this is like my first event.
Yeah.
US con, so it's like.
Really quickly, okay? Just really quickly, just a couple words.
What my goal is to make more friends with the fandom.
That's beautiful. That's fantastic. One more. Sadiq,
Way in the back, I think, with the orange ears.
shout it loud.
I want to become a pharmacy tech next year because I need to get a job that I can live off of.
That's fantastic. That's a great goal. And again, you guys are all saying these are achievable goals. You know they are. You've done the logistics. And maybe that changes if you learn something, but from where you are sitting right now, and you'll update this as you go, you have the fire in the belly to do it. They're important enough to include on your list of dreams and goals. The problem is that a lot of you will not get that far into them. Well, because there's fundamentally something inside you that says you're not going to be any good at it. You're going to get in your own way. Not all of you, some of you just are just, oozing with confidence. Just oozing with confidence. Nothing has ever stopped you, and you will never let anything stop you from anything. But for the rest of us mere mortals, that voice in our head is strong. The one that says, that's great, but you know you're not going to be able to do this. It's going to start shitting on every move you try to make, finding every single little imperfection. And when you do mess up, it's ready to jump on you and say, well, you should be doing this anyway. You should be working a retail job, doing the bare minimum because that's going to, because that's what you were meant to do. And we believe that voice. We'll say we don't. But in the moment we do. When push comes to shove, we absolutely believe that voice. How many of you have started to do art before, but then immediately stopped because you didn't like how the first one looked, or it seemed like it'd be too hard to do it? Say yeah. Yeah. That's too many voices for comfort. By the way, I'm among them. I'm no saint. There's always that voice. So let's meet them. You want to meet them? Let's meet them. After all, we've met the version of you that is perfect. We've met the ideal version of you. We've met the version of you that doesn't change. We've met the positive. We've met the negative. Let's meet the one that's the biggest decider in which of those comes true. I want you to close your eyes one more time, if you will, please. And I want you guys to sit up straight and to sit forward. Again, I want you to get in state, as we say, like we were talking about before. Because I need you guys to come with me here in as much focus as you can, because this one could crush you if you're not ready for it, okay? Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's do this together. I'm here for you. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine that voice, that naysayer, that is always in your head. As a person, a version of you. They look like you. They have your look. They don't look that bad, if you do say so yourself. And they are in the fetal position, in the corner of this dark corner of your mind, with one light on them. And they are shivering. Their eyes are bloodshot. They look like they haven't slept in days. They look frightened. And they are ready to burst. I want you to look at that person, tears in their eyes. That version of you, that voice, has only ever wanted to protect you. Every part of your body is working to help you. Your emotions, your feelings, your physical body. Obviously, yes, there are exceptions. There are mental illnesses and conditions. And obviously, depression is a lie. We know that from the science. But fundamentally, besides those exceptions, all of these things are working to better us. They're there for a reason evolutionarily. And the only thing this voice has ever wanted to do, and by the way, any part of yourself mentally that has ever worked against you, besides, clinical depression, all that has ever fundamentally been doing has really been trying to help you. It loves you as much as any of them. But sometimes it's just misguided in the best way to exert its influence. I want you to go up and give that version of yourself a big hug. I want you to squeeze it tight. I want you to tell it that it's okay. You know that it thinks that it needs to protect you from every little thing. That's why it's screaming at you. That's why it's pointing out every imperfection. It's afraid you're going to be embarrassed or people are going to laugh at you. It's afraid of all these things. It's paranoid about these things. But you're experienced and grown enough now to know that that's not how it works. Not everyone lampoons you every moment. And even if they did, you don't have to take all those things to heart. I want you to tell it that it's going to be okay. It doesn't have to protect you in the same way that it used to. That you love it. And that you want to work with it. I know a lot of you have a toxic relationship with those parts of you, the ones that stand in your way, fighting against them. But what if you just shook its hand and said, I see what you want. I see you're just trying to protect me. Let's work on a better way of protecting me. Because I'm a big boy now, or I'm a big girl now. And I can handle these things. I've been around the block a little bit. We also have the science to know now that penalizing you for progress, whether it be internal or whether it be a parent screaming at you because you didn't get an A+, they're not very good motivators at all. The science shows it. They actually impede progress. They set you back because you're more likely never to try again. You're more likely to shut down. So even if it was guided right, even if it was in the right for, really treating you like a horrible person for your mistakes, it doesn't have any effectiveness to it. But again, I want you to express love for it and to work with it because it is trying for all the right reasons. All these parts of you that you think are working against you, they're there for a reason. And that includes your emotions too. How many of you had a moment at this con that maybe didn't go the best? That maybe you kind of had a bad night? Say yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of you, and it's no laughing matter. Those emotions are just your body they're just your body having a moment. I know those emotions feel so real when we're having them, but the fact is that an emotion is only a bodily sensation that you give a name. That's all it is. Everyone close your eyes for a second. This one is also one of those where if you feel this is going to be too close to home, it's okay to sit back and disengage. But if you feel okay enough with it, I want you to close your eyes a second. I want you to envision a bad time you had this weekend, maybe even something that drove you to tears at the time. And I want you to envision how that made you feel. And as you do, I want you to notice what your body is doing. Where do you feel pressure? Where do you feel pain? Is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your head? I want you to put a hand on the part of your body that you feel starting to experience pain when you envision that uncomfortable emotion that you felt earlier this weekend, or even in the past week, let's say. This is only an experiment. This is not real. I want you to be keenly aware of that. You're okay. When you have these experiences in the future, I want you to do that too. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to take that sensation, and if you can, I want you to not judge it. I want you to go on ahead and just have your mind straight ahead, and don't assign meaning to it. This is just pain in that part of the body that you just pointed at. This is just discomfort. It's all it is. Maybe you have a headache. That's all it is. It's a headache and a stomach ache and pressure here. Your brain jumps to give it a name, but let's for a moment not. Let's pretend it wasn't fear or anger or grief or sadness or anxiety or any of those things. It was just sensations in your body. And then let's just sit with it. Let's just write it. Let's not judge it. Let's not give it a name. You know? Maybe, yeah, even if you give it a name, let's just not judge it. We're just going to write it. We're okay. You know? Don't judge it. Just look straight ahead. This is only a test. And I want you to kind of keep breathing. Keep thinking about the breath that enters yourself when you breathe and how it goes over your tongue, into your nose, and then down your throat, into your stomach. And you exhale a big breath, and it goes out the other way. Now let's breathe again. Here, in. You feel the breath going over your tongue and down your throat and to your belly, inflating it all big and round. And then you breathe out, and it goes out the other way, up to your lungs, and out your nose, and out your mouth. And let's do it one more time. In. Just think about the process of that breath. And then out the other way. And think about every process of that breath through your body. Concentrating on that. Again. This is all just sensations in your body. Every emotion you've ever had. But our brains are really fast. Too fast for our own good many times. And they love seeing patterns. They love patterns. That's why you love puzzle games sometimes. Because, oh, there's a pattern. Oh, it's done that before. I know what that is. But oftentimes it's wrong. And oftentimes seeing that pattern takes us back to a response that we're familiar with. That certainty working for us again. Because, I know how to react when I've experienced that pattern before. Let me put these two together. Go, cry. That's all we're really talking about here. And that creates a response that oftentimes feels so real. I had an experience earlier this year where a friend of mine moved away. And we went from talking every single day to maybe only talking a couple times a month. And I was hurt. I was kind of hurt how it all happened. And I didn't know why, because he's a very good friend, and he's still a very good friend. But it hurt so bad. and I realized I felt rejected, which is an evolutionary thing. You're always going to feel rejection. But I realized that I was falling into these patterns. My mind was going so quickly, and I didn't know how to treat my emotions. I was quickly jumping to assigning meaning to them and going over the moon and judging them as they were in progress. When what I really needed to do, and this comes from Dr. Joanne Rosenberg, if you want to read more on this, is identify the emotion, that's your ability, figure out on the body where the emotion is happening, where that sensation comes from, and then ride the wave. With breathing can really help, focusing on other things, until it was gone. It's just a sensation. Just like you have when you're on a roller coaster, You go up and down and around and you feel woo, and then it dies down. Maybe it takes a minute or two. But then you're okay. And you're here together with all of us. And you realize that nothing happened to you physically. You're still here. You're great. You're just sitting in your seat. And yeah, the memory stings a little bit. But this is something that your mind created. And that with a little bit of effort, maybe there's a way that you can sort of claw back some of that control. That you can see the magic trick for what it is. As good a magic trick as it is. This is not easy to do. This exercise, if you struggle with that, say yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. It takes a while to unwind a behavior you've been doing since you were born. But if you start treating these things for what they are, just sensations you give names, then you can start to have the sensation, ride the wave, don't judge it, and then after it's gone, ask yourself the following question. What message is this emotion trying to send me? What positive message is this? Again, if we conclude that all the things that happen in your body are trying to help you, there's a positive meaning to them. And I do not mean a toxic, unaliving message that comes with something. I mean a positive, life-affirming message or emotions are trying to send you. Whether of protection, whether of trying to help you fit in, so you don't get left out for the dinosaurs back in the day, or the carnivorous beasts, which would happen if your tribe left you. So you have an emotion that predisposes you to want to stay part of a group so you don't get eaten. That's why we feel that. But all of your emotions have a better message. Maybe an emotional response says you really cared about that person. You're crying because you cared, because they meant a lot to you, and that's a good thing. And maybe there's a way you can repair that relationship or have another relationship come into your life that fills that kind of role. These messages always have positive intent. I want to go back to that version of yourself that we met before. The one standing in your way. The one that is always saying that you're shit. The one that is always naysaying every little thing you do. Or the part of you think is holding you back, indeed. I want you to ask you a question. If it didn't have to worry about protecting you, what would it want for you? What is the next, let's say, highest intent that it would want? Give me a volunteer. Who's brave? Raise your hands. Who's brave?
Here in the front.
Go on and stand up for me, okay? What would be the next highest intent of that voice in your head? What would it want for you most if it didn't have to worry about protecting you every 2 seconds and shouting down everything that happened? What would it want?
I would hope for it to...
Speak up a little bit.
I would hope for it would want me to succeed.
What would it want you to succeed at? What success is fine, but what specifically? If you can take a second, you can think for a second if you need to.
The next step?
Yeah.
Whatever comes next.
What is your next step? It's okay. It's not a trick question. You can take a second.
I don't know, anything. Whatever's uncertain, whatever, just once the uncertainty is done, once whatever it would have tried to protect me from is
Well, what
done.
is it trying to protect you from right now?
The end of the con.
The end of the con, huh? Why is that so bad? What's waiting for you that you're so scared of back home?
every day-to-day life.
What's so wrong with every day-to-day life?
It's dull,
Dull?
monotonous, and
It's not exciting. It's not meeting that need for spontaneity and for new things.
this goes back to masking as well.
Yeah. What would be a good thing you think to? What is your goal to think to push through that and to find something that can remedy that for you?
Planning for the next one.
Planning for the next one? That's cool. What about your job? Do you want a new job? Is there something at home you can do besides just kind of going con to con?
Just continue to do job, or
Well, whatever your dream was.
the dream was to continue to move up.
Yeah. That's really good. You're doing well on that? Doing good?
Yeah,
You're enjoying it?
yeah, I am.
Well, that's really fantastic. How about one other person? Go on ahead and stand up a second.
So what was run me down the question again, if you may.
That version of yourself that's always naysaying yourself. If it didn't have to protect you all the time, what would it want? What would it most want? What is its next highest intent? And don't speak in generalities, speak in specifics.
Well, I
Really
would
quick.
say that it would be happiness, and it would want me to. It wants to help me achieve my dreams of
Which-
DJing at conventions, more events.
Conventions, DJs. Well, let's break that down. Let's just do one at a time, okay?
Yeah.
You can go to the moon, but specifically, it's thinking about one thing directly, first and foremost.
It wants me to achieve my dreams, and my dream and all the dreams that I've like me DJing at cons and
DJing at cons.
yeah, and it also wants me to live a happy life amongst
Yeah.
all my friends.
Okay.
Including you,
So,
Sharon Dorr.
but okay, wait a second. Now that's the whole thing. But only wants one of those things first and foremost. But it sounds like if you could get away from that, there's all sorts of higher intent that voice for you has, and you just have to make peace with that to break through it. It's obviously not that simple, but it's a start.
Yeah.
And you have the MO to be able to push through that. Everybody, give him a hand, okay? Let me sit down a second.
Thank you, Hope. But I hope I did good. I hope I did good, though. I hope I did good.
Of course you did good. Were you crazy? Everybody who's here is a hero to me. All of you. Even the ones who are sitting in the back who aren't really paying attention. You showed up. You showed up during a weekend of fun to go hardcore for a second and think about you, the most important thing in this whole equation. A lot of you are going to try to say, oh, well, that's vain. I'm not that important. Actually, you are important. You should be the most important thing to you because you want to keep yourself going and have yourself around for all those friends you say are so much more important than you sometimes. Because if you're not around to help them, then what good is all the friends to you? So let's let you be the focus. But so many of you are so good at distracting yourselves from you with other things that you need to be reminded that you are important. And dreaming in detail about yourselves is important. And it can be a little bit scary, but it is essential. You have to break through to that next step. I want to finish really quickly by talking a little bit about luck. We're about done, but you know, there's always going to be an aspect of luck. There's always going to be winners and losers, and a lot of it's perception. You can have a very meager life and be very happy. Gratitude is so cornerstone to everything. Really quick story. I've told a couple people this, but when I was in my senior year of college, I got very sick. I was typing to a friend one evening, and I started making misspellings. I was like, oh, I didn't know I misspelled that word. That's new. I'm not drunk. Oh, I misspelled that word too. What the heck? And I realized slowly that my entire arm was going numb on me. And I said, oh, I better have some water. And the water dripped down my neck. And I realized slowly that the entire right side of my body was going paralyzed on me. And it looked like a stroke. We legitimately thought I was having a stroke. And they wheeled me off to the hospital. And the next day they found out, oh, good news, it's not a stroke. It's just this incurable chronic condition you're going to have to manage for the rest of your life. Yay! And I was petrified, and my family was petrified. And I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to have two legs and speak again. And it took me about a month to get everything back. And it wasn't fun. My grandmother, bless her soul, at the time didn't know what to do. She's like, he needs some luck. But I'm not a doctor. I can't give that to him. But I know one thing I can try. My grandmother loved origami. She loved paper folding. She used to go to paper folding conventions. She had a paper folding origami public access TV show in New Jersey during the 80s. She was hardcore. And something she was connected with a lot of origami groups around the world too. Like we have a furry fandom, there was an origami fandom. There's an old Japanese legend that if you get 1,000 paper cranes in one place, you've seen those paper cranes. If you get 1,000 of them in one place and make a wish, that wish will come true. And it's good luck. And her wish is that I would get better. She somehow, unbeknownst to me completely, got together with her friends in the origami paper folding community around the world. And clubs will do this sometimes, apparently. Fold cranes for other people in need. And they did. And so one day, a few weeks later, a huge container of 1,000 paper cranes, we counted them, showed up at our doorstep, along with a binder full of letters many of the people who had folded them had written with words of wisdom and good luck. And I was, humbled beyond all belief. I don't have the language to express how joyous and grateful and the gratitude in my heart for it all that I certainly didn't deserve and surely should have been meant for someone else, but was all given to me anyway. But my grandmother said one thing. She said, there's a catch. If it works, if you get better, you have to give the luck away. That's the only way this all works. You have to imbue others with that luck, whether it's through success or friendship or gratitude, but you have to give the luck away. I hope this hour I've helped you guys send a little bit of luck your way, a little bit of help your way, just with some ideas and some things to try. And as a token of my appreciation for all of you, I'd like to give actually some of that luck to you. We have a whole bunch of those paper cranes here today, and I'd like each of you, if you'd like one, to come up and get one and say hi, okay? So thank you guys so much for coming. If you are going to go home and take these things you've written on your phone and take that one goal you made, those 1 to 3 goals that you had that are under a year, and you are going to go and make those real, I want you to say yeah.
Yeah!
If you were going to take those goals and create a reminder on your phone to remind you of the exact time and place, or the exact time and date when you get home, to start executing on those and make your dreams real, say yeah!
Yeah!
If you are going to try your best to stay in gratitude and to stay focused, to dream in detail, so that this is all not for nothing, say yeah!
Yeah!
If you are going to come back here and show me all the amazing things you guys have done next year or at another con, say yeah!
Yeah!
If you guys are amazing and believe it now, say yeah!
Yeah!
I love you all. Thank you so much for coming. Give yourselves a hand. My name is Collie. Thank you guys. If you guys have an amazing rest of your con, I would love to meet you guys. I'd love to come up, take a picture, have a hug, and please get a paper crane. I'd love to hear about what you guys have all going.